Where does information end and advice begin? How to evaluate the information we receive? And are we as humans equipped to deal with AI-powered scams? Hi, I'm Yoli from Deriv, and welcome to a new episode of All Access. Today I have with me a special guest, Pere Monguió, who is the co-CEO of FXStreet. And in the aftermath of Forex Expo, thank you for joining us here at Deriv.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, Yoli. Thank you for having me.
So as mentioned, Pere is the co-CEO of FXStreet, and with his strong background in financial media, he has been instrumental in shaping FXStreet's editorial vision, audience growth, and reputation as a trusted source of traders worldwide. He also leads FXStreet's campaigns against industry scams, raising awareness and protecting retail traders through clear, responsible communication. So, Pere, let's talk about the talk of the town, which is AI, AI, AI. It's made it easier for us to do a lot of things, but at the same time, it's made it easy for bad actors to do, things like misinformation on the internet. Are you seeing a spike of the quantity or quality of scams in the finance space?
It's difficult to assess the size of the problem. There is no accurate information about this, mainly for two reasons. One is because of shame. A lot of people do not come forward saying, I got a scam, right, because they think how stupid I was not to fall into that trap. And the other reason is helplessness. That when you fall into a scam, you think, well, there is nothing I can do now, so why going out and reporting it? We do not have official figures about the size of the problem. For sure, at FXStreet, we are seeing an increase in the volume of scams and, of course, of the quality and how elaborate they are. I want to think that thanks to the awareness that people is trying to do and that more and more people is talking about this, the effectiveness of these scams are also decreasing. So maybe that's leveling the field. Also, there are interesting improvements that Google and Apple are implementing to limit the reach of those scams. But yeah, it's worrisome, especially because AI hasn't reached the full potential, which means that AI-powered scams haven't reached the full potential yet. One thing also that I want to say is that this is not a one industry problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the end, most of these scams, they are not performed by people from one industry or another industry. They are industry agnostic. What they are looking for is places where that are close to money transfers. It can be banks, brokerages, exchanges, etc. So it's easier to justify you need to pay me for anything. So I think it's important to take that into account. That scammers will go wherever they see money flowing.
Right.
And the problem in our case is that there is this concept that's called the liar dividend, which is that there are two effects when you get lied. One is that you will not trust that person, but you will also start doubting about other people.
Yeah.
Because, well, if that person lied to me, maybe others will as well. So you start trusting less information elsewhere.
And when you think about for traders and investors, information is really what they need to be able to do due diligence. So, I mean, how do they kind of make an assessment of what information can be trusted versus not? I can imagine with more AI created content, there's probably also going to be an influx of misinformation. Mm-hmm. What are you doing at FXStreet to help?
Yeah, so usually the the best way to assess if you can trust that information or not is the source. No? So who is telling you this? And that's why scammers are good at impersonating others, no? Because they want to leapfrog that, no? And use that trust to scam that person. So we are seeing a flooding of information with AI. I think that at some point this will level out, no? And it won't make sense to generate a content that has no insight or no purpose or no clear value, and that's fully automated, no?
Well, what are some of the markers they can use to kind of like detect whether a brand is credible, or what are some of the things you do for FXStreet to protect your brand? Do you have scammers impersonating you guys?
Yes, of course. I think everyone in this industry has. I'm quite outspoken about this. This is a whack-a-mole game. Because as soon as you turn one website down, a new one appears. So for me, we do and we monitor impersonations, and we try to take them down. For example, on Telegram, that's almost impossible because they do not pay attention to that. So what we try to do is to go the other way, you know, and make sure that our official channels are clearly differentiated, you know, and so that on Telegram, on WhatsApp, on X, in every social channel that we are at, we have the blue check, the green check, the clear markers that, okay, this is a safe channel and this is the official channel. And we always recommend, and we do campaigns internally and for our users, which are the official channels, and those are the only ones that should be trusted. And the other thing that we do is we explain what we will never ask for. Okay, so FXStreet, we do not manage our users' money. So we will never ask them, especially not on Telegram through a DM, please send me money at this wallet address.
Right.
Okay? So people need to be aware of this and say, okay, no. If someone is asking me from FXStreet for money, that's not FXStreet.
What about the speed of information, the real-time nature of it? I mean, it seems like it's just accelerating. Is it making traders more informed, or is it just more slop deluge of information? How do you think traders and investors should be parsing the speed of information?
I really like to talk about the news diet concept. No, we are all aware of the importance of our food diet, and if we eat healthy food, we will be more healthy. But the same applies to the news diet, or to the information that we consume. The better information that we have, the smarter the decision that we will make. And you cannot be consuming all the time fake news, entertainment, and slop, and expect you to make the best decisions possible. So I think that people should pay more attention to this, and you need to have a system, a method, no? Because as you were saying, there is so much information that you cannot consume everything. So for me, like creating, being very mindful about the news diet that you want to have, which sources you want to consume, because they are actionable. Because if not, that's entertainment. So they need to be useful. They need to be reliable. And also they need to be diverse. Because maybe you are actionable and you are reliable, but you are only sharing some part of the story, and you are only sharing the bullish facts. But what about the bearish case? You need to be aware of that.
Let's talk about that. So for new traders, they tend to be, as you're kind of learning to trade, you're focused on learning to read charts and fundamentals. Where does FXStreet and publishers like yourselves fit in their sort of trading journey? How should they think about how they incorporate, publishers like yourselves? Where does the broader news fit in?
Yes. There was recently a study that came out that was quite revealing. It was a brokerage that checked from all the traders it had, which ones were using the news and the education resources that it was providing, and which ones weren't. and compare the performance of their trades. The ones that consume news and education perform better.
Really? Why do you think that is?
One, you need to be constantly learning, otherwise you will fall behind. And two, you need to be aware of what's going on in the market and what are the factors impacting the market. Even if you are pure technical trader, at least you need to be aware that when important data releases are going out, just to be aware that if I'm in the market, how can this impact my trade? No?
Yeah.
So in the end, there is no option, that it's not like too risky, not to be aware of what's going on. And one thing that we always try to add from FXStreet, this curation of the information. No? This idea of traders do not have the whole day to read about what's going on in China, in the United States, in the UK, in Bitcoin, stocks, everything. No? So I think it's useful for us to be there filtering out all this and curating what's the most important part. And usually in some publishers, you have this clickbait style where you have a very interesting headline, but then there is not much inside, or even the insight is in the last paragraph just to keep you there reading. No, we always open our news with bullet points that we call it's the lead, and it's the key ideas of the article.
Yeah.
So even if you only have 30 seconds, you read that, and that's already useful for you.
So in those key ideas, how do you walk the line between information and advice? As brokers, we sometimes can struggle with that. We want to create content that's useful and actionable, but we cannot be giving financial advice. How do you manage that at FXStreet?
I think it's very important that we do not do financial advice, not only, of course, for legal reasons, but because we are a public website, and you cannot give proper financial advice without personalizing it, without knowing exactly what's the age of that trader, the funds they have, the risk aversion or risk appetite of that trader. So you cannot provide a good service giving financial advice mass market. You know? So for us, what we do is we explain what we are seeing, what that means for us, and how we are taking action on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we do offer, especially for premium users, our trade plans, but that's not a recommendation on you should do that. It's what we are doing and why we are doing it. Because there is a lot of demand for the fish, but not that demand for the fishing rod. No? And every newbie is after signals, but they need to be aware that if you are just following someone else's signals, you are not having any edge. You are not adding any value to it. So you are just copy trading, and you are not a trader then. No, you are just following a trader. No? So I think that newbies should focus a lot on learning. I believe in learning by doing.
Yeah.
But that means that, okay, it's fine if you are following signals, but you should try to understand the reasons behind those trade ideas. Otherwise, you will be there hooked forever. No?
Yeah. So, let's talk about this concept of signals versus noise. Before the interview, we were talking about how you guys are thinking of, creating more content for social media, which feels like a natural thing for you to do. There is this line between the traditional media and what we see on social media. How should new traders be thinking about the signals that they're getting from social media versus, content that might be created by a traditional publisher in that environment? How do they parse what's, if there's a piece of content by an influencer with lots of likes, and people might see that as a signal that, yes, I should be buying. How do they expand their due diligence? How do,
Yes. Just let me be upfront about this, because nowadays it looks like FXStreet is the old guard. No, that because we've been here.
I didn't mean to call you an OG.
Well, we've been in the market, for 25 years. Just 1 year younger than
seasoned
than Deriv.
Yes.
But I'm a big supporter of influencers.
Yeah.
Because FXStreet has been on that situation before of being the disruptor, with online media and all of that. And I think that the trend is clear. That's more access to information, and that's good. And of course, it has trade-offs with noise, fake news, filtering out, and finding the signal. But that's good. When FXStreet started, it was really difficult to find market information. And I'm not talking about news or analysis, even market price. So it's amazing, someone who went through that and that sees how all the optionality that people have. That's a positive. Of course, for me, influencers are democratizing access to information, but it has downsides. For me, the main downside is that because of the algorithms and how they work, influencers are optimizing for engagement, not for knowledge. And that means that there are plenty of influencers that they have a lot of knowledge, but there are others that don't, that they are only good at being engaging, but that's more entertainment, not information. It's good that it's interesting and it's engaging. That's not bad, but is it not? Links back to the idea of the news diet, is it healthy food or not?
Yeah.
Because if there is no nutrition there, you are just entertaining yourself.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's some, in marketing, I'm often talking about, what are still the universal truths, as much as things are changing and technologies influencing what we do, and there's user behavior that changes. How has traders' consumption of news changed, and how has it stayed the same?
Yeah, I think that this access to information has changed a lot. I would say that there is less time in general in life for anything, and we are always in a hurry. So the amount of time that people spend researching and consuming information is shorter. Our time spans are shorter. So we need to be more dense, to provide as much information in the least amount of time possible. And I think that there is also this trend of decentralization, that you do not have the same gatekeepers that used to be.
Yeah.
And it's easier nowadays to follow 20 different sources and their newsletters, and there is less concentration of power, which I think it's clearly positive. For me, one important thing here is, because it goes back to this idea of the more brands or sources that there are, how do I trust them?
Yeah.
And that was the good thing about concentration, that you knew, okay, I know all the brands, I know all the track record of those brands, so I know how to treat them and how to balance the information they provide. Nowadays, you just found someone on Instagram or a new newsletter that looks amazing, but you don't know what's behind that. One tip that I tend to use is, people focus a lot on reliability. Okay, are they reliable or not? The thing is that no one is 100% reliable. You cannot be 100% reliable all the time. So for me, it's better to focus on accountability, which means whenever they screw up, are they upfront about it? And do they try to minimize the damage and say, hey, correction.
Yeah.
That was wrong. That's the correct information. And we will do this, and that to make sure that this doesn't happen to us again. For me, that's a clear signal that I can trust that source, because no one likes to put a correction. No journalist ever will be happy to put a correction on an article that they wrote, which means that they are clearly incentivized. If they have this practice in place, they are clearly incentivized to minimize that.
As accurate as possible.
Whereas, I don't know, an influencer or someone that calls itself a journalist and they are just saying things and they don't care if afterwards they are wrong or right because time spans are short and people forget. They will never do that.
How are you going to manage that? Because my understanding is AI is now being brought into the newsroom with potentially AI generated headlines. And you mentioned, you want the writers to be incentivized to minimize the fact that they would have to make any corrections. How are you going to manage that? Because we know that AI hallucinates as well. How do you balance wanting to have automation and efficiency in your business with wanting to be, accurate and produce content that is authentic and interesting? How are you guys thinking about AI in the newsroom?
Yeah, I like this question because I think it's the right frame, not to think of, so what's the purpose? We want more quality, more speed, more reliability.
Yeah.
And I think that's the right frame, not discussing, should you have more or less AI in the newsrooms? Well, I don't know. 20 years ago or 25 or 30 years ago, people were not discussing, should we have more or less computers in the newsroom? For what? No? So in the end, here the problem in many newsrooms is that they are thinking about the costs, not about the quality of the product. And then obviously, if you are only looking at costs, it's a no-brainer. Fire everyone, let the AI come in, and who cares?
Yeah.
But that's not the right approach. So that's why at FXStreet, we only look at costs afterwards. So first, we focus on quality, where AI can add value. One example in our case was translations. In translations, we knew that time to market is important.
Yeah.
So when there is a breaking news, we try to publish the data release. It's on time, 1 second after the data is out. The breaking news with a story explained, it's less than 5 minutes it takes to be published. For that to be translated, maybe that's 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes. In the market, that's a lot. If you can translate that automatically, that's a huge win. But then AI hallucinates. What happens if the accuracy of the translation is not good enough, etc.? So what we did is we started analyzing the quality of the translations. And the good thing that we had is that we had a huge background corpus of stories from FXStreet that our team translate. More than 10 years of material. So we could train an AI to really translate properly when the sushi word was in one of our stories. We're not talking about food. We are talking about a crypto asset.
Right.
So bullish, bearish. There is very specific translations for each language. So we spent 1 year training and testing the AI, and in the end, we implemented it. But because the quality that it was providing was higher than what the team could provide. That's the type of applications that I think that we should be looking for. Because the improvement curve of AI, it's impressive. And maybe it will plateau at some point, but you need to be on top and you cannot say, no, AI won't work for this because quality is not good enough. Maybe in 2 weeks it will. So you need to be on top of it, testing and validating, but putting quality on first. And then you check costs. Does it make sense from a business perspective? Yes, no, how? But not if it's not adding quality.
So, Pere, how are you feeling about the future in our industry? Tell me, what keeps you up at night? What are you optimistic about?
An optimist, honestly. So I think that you need this attitude towards the future of thinking, tomorrow will be better. There are a lot of uncertainties, that's for sure. But yeah, I think it's important to have this positive belief, this positive attitude of, sure, there is a lot of things going on. The speed of changes are amazing.
Yeah.
But it will come out a good outside, no? And we as a community, all the people will be able to make sure that these improvements, these changes, these disruptions will be for good. AI clearly is top of mind. Yeah, I think that it's important to be aware of the downsides and minimize those and try to implement AI the best way possible. But I don't think we are doomed. Of course, the future can be bright, and if we all work towards that, we will get there. The other thing that worries me is trust, because in the end, that's the most important currency in most industries, but especially in ours. And this links back to what we were talking about, the scams and all of that. How do we keep trust in our brand and in our industry? Because it's the most important asset that we have by far, especially if you are a media company, if people do not trust the information that you put out there. And at the same time, we need to constantly evolve and change and improve and apply new technology, update the processes, etc. No? So how do you balance that? No? So keeping up with the fast pace of the industry while making sure that you are true to your brand and to your audience. No? And that's a difficult path to navigate, but that's why we are here. Yeah.
Well, Pere, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We really appreciate the work that FXStreet does. We appreciate you spending some time with us at All Access, and we will talk again.
Yes, thank you, Yoli. It was a pleasure, and I really enjoyed the conversation.